Hello there, this is Jay. Welcome to my channel. I'm here at Black Canyon Campground. It's in the Gila National Forest in New Mexico, and it's right between two big patches of wilderness areas. It's actually quite interesting. There's a corridor with a road called North Mesa Road that goes right through it, and North Star Mesa Road. And I'm just going to drive north from here after tonight and just explore some more and just kind of traveling around exploring right now while Tina's hiking the CDT, which is actually west of here. It's a little quite a bit west, but I'm gonna meet up with her later. And I thought today I would go over the top 3 questions I get asked anytime I mention that I hiked the Arizona Trail, as well as maybe on the YouTube channel itself. The number one being, what was your favorite part? People ask me that quite often, so I'll go over that. Of course, there's a lot, but I'll go over. I think everyone's going to say the same thing though, but I'll go over other things. But number 2 is, when did I start, and was it a good starting date as far as weather? And the third most asked question I get is actually a quick answer: how long did it take? And you know that one if you've been watching the videos, but it's 54 days. I will get into it further in a little bit though. So do you like this creek right here? The campground actually sits right next to this creek, and there's a lower Black Canyon campground, and you can actually drive through the creek. You have to drive through the creek to get to it, and the creek's pretty shallow, so you can make it. Where I am right now, in fact, coming down here, I would definitely have a high clearance vehicle. No regular vehicle would safely get through the road without scraping. So, but anyway, so the number one most asked question was your favorite part. Of course, I mean, the Grand Canyon. I mean, as a little kid, our family drove out west and we went to LA, and I remember we stopped at like overlooks. I don't remember if we went to the national park itself, but we didn't hike at all. I mean, like, when I was growing up, I didn't even know there was anything like hiking. Like, that was a thing and people did it. So I remember we stopped at overlooks, but I don't think we went to the park. Lisa, my sister, might know better. But we just stopped and looked around, took pictures. Um, but this was the first time I ever walked down into the canyon itself, and I thought it was amazing. I think if anybody is in proper health and you have the opportunity, you should hike down into the canyon. It's such a rewarding feeling. Just have to make sure that you are healthy enough that you can go down and still come back up, or at least camp out down there if you get a permit, because those permits are hard to get. Here you got to submit them 4 months in advance for the Bright Angel campground area. Especially right now because of COVID, they're limiting how many campers are down there. But but just going down South Kaibab Trail, it was just so beautiful. I do think it was more beautiful going down than going up, just because the sun is kind of behind you as you go down, so it shines on everything, so pictures look better, easier. Whereas when you go up, every time you turn around to look down, the sun is kind of right at you, so all your pictures, you're gonna have to block the sun with your hand from hitting the camera lens, but it's not lit as well. And just the rock formations as you go down that you can see is just astonishing. And when you could see the Colorado River, it's amazing. I mean, there's nothing like it. Highly recommend doing it. In fact, sometime in the future, long future probably, I would love to hike down maybe hike down Bright Angel, which is just to the west of it, and then maybe camp out at Bright Angel and come back up South Kaibab, just like a different perspective. I would love to do that someday. But that's a typical answer. Everyone's going to say Grand Canyon because, I mean, it's hard to beat that. National park, one of the busiest national parks in the country. It's hard to beat that. I think it's also one of the 8 wonders of the world. But the other one that I always mention is, I tried to find a name for it, but I couldn't find an exact name. It's south of Picket Post Trailhead near Superior, and it's north of the Gila River. So once you finish walking along the Gila River and you get that water, you head north, and after a little bit, you walk among all these huge rock formations, and you walk along these trails on the sides of these rock formations, and you could see the trail forever, and they're just beautifully colored rock formations everywhere. I thought that was one of the best, and the trail is actually relatively level, little up and downs, but you could see forever, and the trail was nice, and there were little wildflowers here and there. And besides the Grand Canyon, I thought that was my favorite part, or favorite section of the whole Arizona Trail. The second most popular question I get, of course, is when did I start? And I started February 17th, and usually the reaction I get is, "Whoa, that's early." uh, yeah, it's early, but I know that I don't like hiking in really hot conditions. My body just does not work well. I need to drink a lot more water to compensate for it. And I know in the past I've kind of had heat stroke a couple times, and they say if you get it once, it's easier to get it again. So I really prefer not to hike in the heat if I can. And but hiking February 17th, it's a lot cooler. Yes, it's cold every night, but also the hours of sunlight are more limited. It gives you less daylight for hiking, but there's less total sun hitting you. Like February 17th to early April, when I finished on April 11th, like the amount of sun you get, there's at least 4 more hours like before and after that you get. And just having the less sun just beaming down on you, I thought I wouldn't have started any later for myself, just because even having started February 17th, some of the parts were just rolling hills like Cochino or something like that. It just, I was cooking. I drank 1 liter of water for 3 miles for one day, and I couldn't believe it. And it was just because of the constant sun and the rolling hills. But for me, I thought it was a great day to start. Sure, there were complications with the snow that occurred every now and then, but I think if I had the proper gear when that snow started, like I forgot my pack cover, or I lost my pack cover and I couldn't get a replacement fast enough. But if I had a good pack cover and I had waterproof socks, my quilt was in working condition at the time near Flagstaff, maybe a liner as well, I could have kept going. I wouldn't have had to turn around. I was at that point when the snow really got thick. I just couldn't find a trail at all, and it took me forever to get far at all. But then I think when I changed my strategy and when I came back and I just said, I'm just gonna go in a compass bearing towards the next gate and just try to stay on trail 10% and 90% just go towards the gate, because it's the act of trying to stay on trail that it just took so long. And I think if I had a regular compass with me, it would have helped. It was much easier when I got back on trail after the snow because the sun was out, and with the sun you can see what direction you're going real easily. It just, when the clouds are super thick and you can't see where the sun is at all, it's hard to determine what direction you're facing unless you have a physical aid like a compass to show you. And having the phone out all the time was a pain because I had all these gloves on. And I do have one of those Sense Touch gloves. It just, they're worn out. They don't work at all. So I was hoping there was like a spray or something I could put on it. But yeah, the sun helps navigating completely. But if I had a compass with me at that time, I think I would have been able to just keep going. Would have been no problem. And then up at the North Rim, I think nothing short of snowshoes would have helped there to stay on trail. You were going to have to road walk unless you had snowshoes with you. And also some people say like that's too early because there's snow. I had a couple of friends whom I hiked with on the PCT. They started about a month after me, maybe 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. And when they got to the North Rim, they were about the same pace as me. When they got to the North Rim, it snowed on them as well. And they actually road walked as well because of all the snow. So February 17th may seem early, but it's luck. Like, you could start a month later, you may get snowed on. There's probably less chance that you're gonna have to deal with snow. than if you start early. But if you're lucky, you won't have to. And fortunately, the roads right at the North Rim kind of connect with the trail over and over, so you can kind of cut in whenever you need to. But yeah, it's a lot of luck. But I think for me, if you don't like the heat, starting late February, I think is a great option. The other bad thing is a lot of the logging roads are closed because when it snows or rains, it gets all muddy. And the Forest Service doesn't want cars driving through and destroying the roads. So they wait till it's dry before they open them. And that makes it so if there's no water available at various tanks and whatnot, the people that cache water cannot get to certain areas. So you have a lot of carries, long carries, and there are only like 2 or 3 caches that you can actually even get water from if you're lucky. There's a few like real small ones, but the parts where you need water, the caches might not necessarily be there. I saw that after the roads opened up, more of the caches were, or more of the road intersections got water. Of course, there's less water now. And yeah, being February 17th, I think you do have access to more water. Just like people would think, I think it's true that there is a lot more water. And I think it builds, not character, but it builds perspective when you have to rely on the really crappy natural sources of water for your water instead of caches. Like on the CDT, I've been helping support Tina on the first stretches, and a lot of people seem to be just relying on caches, and they are really picky with their water. But I learned that any kind of water is fantastic. Any kind of water you can filter, I'll take it. Yeah. If you go early, be prepared to have a lot of time by yourself and be alone. I know some people really don't like that, so they may not enjoy starting that early. If you really enjoy being with other people and hiking with other people and camping with other people, I don't recommend starting at February 17th at all. I would say early March at the latest. There was a good group of people, I think about 2 weeks behind me the whole time. So early March at the latest if you really want to camp and hike with other people. Mid-February was perfect if you just love the peace and quiet and don't want to see people for 3 days at a time over and over. And it was actually amazing how for 3 days I wouldn't see anybody in a car or on foot, and then I might see someone, and then some other section, another 3 days is 2 or 3 days at a time. It's just over and over. So it's quite astonishing, and it also gives you the flexibility. You can kind of set up your tent partly on the trail, and nobody's coming through, nobody's around. But if it's not for you, definitely don't start that early. So as for the third most asked question, how many days did it take? It took me 54. I have to tally up how many zeros I took, but I did take a few more zeros than I thought. I thought I would take 52 days altogether, but the zeros are mostly because of the snow that came through. And also I found making a video for every day on trail is even more tiring during your zeros. So it was nice to have a zero from my zero every now and then, because I'd go into trail, do all my trail chores the first day, and then I'd edit some videos, and then the second day some more trail chores and eating, lots of eating, and then I would just edit videos and uploading, and it would take me usually until midnight to 2 a.m. before I went to sleep the day before I was going to go hike again. And it was just exhausting. The next day, the first day back on trail, I would just be like so sluggish. It just, editing it was okay, but constantly waking up to make sure that the uploads continued, because in each town I try to have at least enough videos scheduled out till I get to the next town so I can upload one. So it could be 5 to 6 videos I have to upload during a zero, and you have to make sure they all go through. If you try to upload one and you go to sleep and then you wake up and you find out there was a problem, that's 8 hours gone. So you wake up every now and then, check on it, make sure that's gone, start up another one, or at least start up two before you go to sleep. Vlogging is exhausting, folks. If you intend to try it on a thru hike, I highly recommend scheduling in or planning for extra zeros just so you could upload those videos, as well as recovery from all the time doing that. And it's hard being super social when you're uploading so much. Not like I could be social. I only saw actually literally 9 other thru hikers the entire thru hike going north. I met a lot of section hikers, a few really, and a couple of people going south that were section hiking, but thru hikers going north, nobody. Even at MJ's, at Trail Angel, at Superior, I only met 2, but one of them already met before on trail. So it's yeah, so those were my 3 most asked questions about the Arizona Trail. If you have a bunch more questions, feel free to just ask below. I know I get questions throughout every comment and lots of suggestions. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I love answering the questions. I don't know everything, and I think that's one of the beauty of having a YouTube channel when you're exploring a new land, is you could post questions and then there's always people that know the answers and they'll post them. You kind of have to weed out some of the answers because they're not accurate sometimes, but usually if you get multiple answers that are the same, that's usually the right answer. But well, I hope you enjoyed these 3 questions. I have more Arizona Trail videos coming. I did take a few weeks off just to kind of recover, and I've been busy actually following Tina around, and I don't know, it's like a game. She has an inReach as well with tracking, and when I have service I can see where she is, and I love trying to get to her. And there's tons of forest roads, and I just love exploring forest roads, places I've never been, and I don't know, it's been a lot of fun testing out the new tires, and they've been great. And I feel much more confident with the I believe they're the 5-ply E-rated tires I have now. So I don't know, it's been a good time. It's quiet, and I'm recovering well. My feet are going crazy. The calluses are going insane. But overall, I'm recovering well, and I will talk to you later with more videos to come. Till then, y'all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later.